Okay, so what is creativity and why is it so important? In this presentation, we're going to outline what creativity actually is, why it's important, and how you can start incorporating it into your classroom. So, before we start, when you think of creativity, what pops in your head? What do you typically think of? Pause here and answer. So, typically, when people think of creativity, they think almost exclusively of things like the visual art, so painting and drawing, music, and the performing arts is a really stringent parameter when people typically think of creativity and how it's used and what fields and what domains it's used in. But what is creativity actually? So, creative thinking is a very close companion to critical thinking and is an invaluable skill for all students. Creativity is important because it helps students look at problems and situations from a fresh perspective. Creative thinking is a way to develop unorthodox solutions that do not depend wholly on past or current solutions. So, an ability to look at a problem or a challenge and to be able to generate some sort of solution to it that might not already exist. In an ever changing, complex, and fast paced world, creativity is more crucial now more than ever. According to Dr. Margaret Allen, in a successful schools today and tomorrow, the goal of vibrant education in the arts is to prepare students for all kinds of work, life experiences, and social challenges, not simply for a career in an art related area. The creative mind is one that is prepared for the future in all its challenging dimensions. Every domain of schooling, academics, athletics, and activities, social and personal life is empowered by the pathways and opportunities of creativity. Gone is the idea that the arts is an add on with less inherent value than other disciplines. Instead, the arts emerge as the leading edge, imbuing other domains with a spirited creative sensibility. So, even with that understanding that yes, creativity is very important. Yes, it's going to help prepare our students for this extremely fast-paced, ever-changing world, especially with artificial intelligence. That a fact that a lot of jobs are now done by computers and are continuing to go that way. But what if you're not an art teacher? Now what? How are you going to incorporate creativity into your class? How are you going to foster that creative problem-solving skills? So luckily, the arts have been using it's something called the studio habits of mind, the 8 studio habits of mind that I realize has been generated from other areas of education, and they've kind of boiled it down into 8 key factors, which are develop craft, engage and persist, envision, express, observe, reflect, stretch and explore, and understanding art worlds. Now, if you look at these 8 things and you look at the little definitions below them or the quick little words below them that kind of outline what they are, you'll notice that these are skills. Observation is obviously a really important skill in the arts, but it's also a very important skill overall, no matter what class that you're in. Reflecting, the ability to question and explain and evaluate, um, stretch and explore, to be able to play and make mistakes and discover. These are all skills that can transcend beyond art class and into any domain. There have actually been studies by Dr. Lois Hetland where they're actually trying to show the connection between specifically the Envision 8 studio habits of mind skill and an ability to kind of visualize geometry skills and the ability to look beyond and start to picture different shapes in your mind and to better understand and strengthen those math skills. So these are some studio habits that are something that, yes, they are very relevant in the arts, but they're also just as relevant skills when you are looking at all other subjects and then professions beyond school. So, how can you support a creative learning environment? There are a lot of different ways. So, a couple of ways that jump to my mind that I think are personally really important and don't necessarily just talk about art are encouraging mistakes and taking risks. If you want a student to be able to find those creative solutions and develop that skill to be able to seek those out, you're going to have to encourage an environment where it's okay to make mistakes. In the same vein, you want to promote the process. Sometimes it is better process over product, and that's a huge thing in my class, and I think it's super important in any class. Incorporating project-based learning, allowing for students to reflect on the process and seek out improvement. So not only promoting that process, but actually reflecting on it and seeing what went well, what didn't go maybe so good, and how you can change for the future. And obviously, many of these are already being incorporated into other domains in schools. Providing diverse opportunities for students to demonstrate understanding in schools. That does also, I feel, go in the same vein as project-based learning, giving them that opportunity to demonstrate that understanding of the unit through a poster, a video, Maybe they want to type a paper, but having that opportunity to choose, that's going to best fit their needs. Providing clear parameters and support structures. This helps especially with that blank page anxiety that a lot of students face. So if you are still offering that level of creativity, that ability for them to diverge from whatever the original project proposal is, you still want to make sure that there are really clear parameters and support structures in place so that they feel secure enough to be able to kind of reach out and try out those new approaches. Providing clear parameters and support structures, I already said that, and utilize multisensory and multidisciplinary approaches. So all of these things, yes, they're very relevant to art, but they're also something that you can include in any class that you have, and something that you can start doing tomorrow. So maybe if you are covering, let's say you're going over a play in English, maybe instead of just reading out loud during class, you're having the students act it out, or maybe they're recreating it or reimagining it into a comic book. Maybe they're rethinking it in terms of a podcast if they were to be interviewing whoever the main character is in the story. So it really can go any which way that you'd like it to go, but just providing or supporting a creative learning environment for your students is a great way to start fostering that creative problem solving skills. So taking a pause right here, what's one question that you still have and one takeaway from this? Obviously, this is just dipping your toe into what is creativity, how to incorporate it, why is it important? But if you were to start incorporating this tomorrow, what question might you have? And what's one thing that you could see yourself immediately taking away and trying out in class? Thank you.